Okay, Town ZBA, you are live. You're recording. Phone lines will remain off. Go for it.
Thank you, Matt, and welcome to the Town of East Hampton Zoning Board of Appeals work session for September 9th, 2025. We'll start off our work session with an administrative application, and that is 380 OMH LLC at 380 Old Montauk Highway in Montauk, Suffolk Tax Map number 300-88-1-12.5, and that's to allow an existing outdoor shower and deck to remain on a property containing a bluff.
Yeah, so this is out on Old Montauk Highway. This one's Morgan's I'm covering it for. I drew the jurisdictional line on here. That's this red line. And the wood deck and the shower that are here are in yellow, are what they're requesting an NRSP for. It's very straightforward. No significant impacts. Everything else on the property already has a CO. Obviously, there's a lot of extremely non-conforming structures on the property, but the deck and the shower itself are pretty unremarkable. So we were comfortable with it moving forward administratively.
Any questions, board members? Is there any issues?
No, I don't have an issue.
No, I'm fine. Good. Can we have a motion? Did you?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
I'm looking at something I can't really see, but that's okay.
I know.
I'll take it on the advice of planning.
Do you have it? Terry, you gonna make the motion?
What? Oh, I can do it. Okay.
I don't have it in front of me.
All right. So for 380 OMH LLC at 380 Old Montauk Highway, Montauk, the county tax map 300-88-1-12.5, I make a motion to allow the application to be processed administratively.
I'll second it.
Concur.
I'll concur.
Concur, thank you. We'll move on to our post-hearing decisions, and our first applicant is Richard Perello at 11 Flag Avenue in Montauk, Suffolk Tax Map number 300-30-4-3. Size and location is 14,640 square feet at 11 Flag Avenue in Montauk. The description is to allow an existing residence and associated structures to remain over the maximum allowable building coverage. The relief sought is one variance of 428 square feet is required from 255-1110 of the Town Code to allow the parcel to remain with the maximum lot coverage of 3,356 square feet, where 2,928 square feet is the maximum allowable, and any other relief necessary. The zoning district is B residence, AE flood zone, elevation 11, and the seeker class is type 2. And
This was me.
Yep.
Hi, okay. Since we had this hearing on August 12th, 2025, had a site plan, well, we had one from 1/11/21, and then it was a TAM dated 7/3/2025. I think we had a date on the site plan also. Received July 16th, site plan A100, where the one that's up on the screen there now. And I couldn't read the date, but it was received on July 16th, 2024. And we had a survey from, can't read that date either. Survey dated
I can look that up if
11,
you want.
12/10/21. No, I'm sorry, the latest is 6/6/22 on it. And we received that on July 16th also. And this one is for an overage in building coverage, and it's a little bit of a messy application, history on it. If you look at that, the red things up there, the one on the right side was labeled A, the one on the center on the bottom is B, and one on the center top, toward the center top is C. And what happened was the one on A there was a survey issued with that in the plans for the building plans, and it did not include a portion of the property that was covered and should have been included in the building coverage numbers. That was a surveyor that did that, and then the applicant, who is also the builder as well as the owner of the property, he saw that, and he, at that point, it did not exceed the building coverage numbers, so he took it upon himself to add in numbers B and letters B and C to the project. And this was not discovered until the final survey came out, and the overage was discovered at 428 square feet over the building coverage. And there was a little bit of a messy history. I don't know, go over it. It seems the first time that I saw Richard and Jean Perello, it was in 1617, and they did get a permit to build an accessory building that you see there at the top of that document, with a shed, decking, and hot tub. They renewed that permit the following year on January 18th, and then there was a stop work order in August of 2018 for that permit, 63825. I'm not exactly sure what that was for. So the plans were amended on that, and then they actually got a renewal for that permit. And in 12/17/19, they got a C of O for that structure with shower and shed. And I bring that all up because it looks like they did not do the hot tub. I did not see a hot tub out there. So that might still be an open issue somewhere along the way. So I'm just bringing it up. Then they did get a C of O for that accessory structure. Then on 11/24/20, there was a stop work order issued because they started to demolish the existing principal residence and without a permit. So that got cleared up, and then on 12/7/20, the building permit 70187 was issued to demolish the residence, build a new residence, 6 bedrooms, 1 kitchen. They added a new IA system at that time and a lower level rec area. But anyway, and there is a notation on the property card that said with this 70187 permit that their lot coverage is at the maximum. But I think it's all these things happening that cause the discrepancy with the survey, and the applicant said he did not notice it until the final survey was done. And now he was here to have us apply for a variance for the 428 feet over the building coverage. It's my opinion that I am going to deny this application. I think it does not meet the standards. We don't have many building coverage applications that come in, and I feel that this does not meet the standards. I think the grant of the variance could cause more of an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. Neighborhood is one of our standards in 255-850, as well as character is also a standard in 255-111D, particularly for the protection of residential neighborhoods. And when you see this property, it does jot out as being it's very different than anything else in that area. I think the benefit, well, could be achieved by some other method. I think what he needs to do is just remove some of the portions of the structures that he put in. And I think the area variance is substantial. It's 428 feet higher than the maximum allowable on that. And I think it could have an adverse effect on an impact on the physical conditions in the neighborhood and other areas of the town. And it clearly was an self-created hardship that was caused because of the discrepancies that went on with the builder. So I am looking to deny this application.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had the discussion the night of the hearing that's already been described by Member Berger, and that was that course of action that led the builder/owner to assume that he had some options left in adding to his structure. Of course, what he did add was not permitted, so he moved ahead with an unpermitted series of small additions and roof lines on that. However, when we start looking at this, we've got to go back to the fact that a building permit was issued for the house that he built initially, and that overhang was not included in the survey and accepted in the final accepted as as a companion to the building permit. I guess he thought he had some guidance in this. Later, he goes and closes 2 roof lines, and now he's got this 428 square foot problem. I think that I'm a little slightly at variance here with what Member Berger said. I'm not sure that I see this creating a real change in the character of the neighborhood. I think that the house is out of character with the neighborhood, but that's not in front of us. I think the house is kind of large for the site, and I think that overhang is something that you see right away when you pull up. But all of that was part of initial building permit, so that's not in front of us. What's in front of us is whether or not these 2 additional enclosures he had that put him over the 428 feet over in terms of lot coverage is in something that we think is going to have a long-term negative effect on the property. I don't see it that way. I think these are 2 coverages that sit over previously improved areas over hardened areas below, so they're not extending out over an area that doesn't have lot coverage already associated with, or doesn't have hardened area or so associated with it. I think that both of these places, it's not a significant amount of structure. I don't think they're visible from the road. I'm not sure how they would impact the neighborhood from the one is, of course, but that's the one that was the initial one that was part of the project. But the 2 that he added later on are not. If you go to 255-850 A, there's the benefit to the applicant from the grant of the area variance outweighs any detriment which might grant of the variance would cause to the general health, safety, and welfare of the neighborhood, for the town as a whole. And I think the benefit to the applicant does. I think that we're asking him to remove those at this point, given the history, given this confusion there was about this coverage. I think it is his responsibility. I'm not saying it's not, but I do think that there was a certain amount of perhaps a misunderstanding that led to what's happened here. So when I look at this, I don't see this as creating a change in the character of the neighborhood. I don't see it as changing or creating a precedent that we might have to worry about here. I think it's an individual and a unique circumstance in the sense that what this project is, what he's achieved by adding these spots is some convenience for him, but I don't see it as a detriment at all to the town. So going back to that 255-850, I think I'm going to rely on that and say that the benefit to the applicant outweighs the detriment to the town, and I am going to approve this application.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. I agree mostly with Member Johan, and I'm just going to quickly go through my notes here. Building permit 70187, which was approved on December 7th, 2021, was based on a survey by Twin Forks Land Survey, which was dated October 6, 2020, and it showed a total lot coverage of 2738 square feet, which equates to a coverage of 18.7%, where 20% is the maximum permitted by 255-11-10 of East Hampton Town Code. The surveyor erroneously did not include the roof overhang in the south deck in their total lot coverage calculation. The roof overhang in the south deck is shown on the second floor plans, which accompany the building permit. It is further identified as A, shown in red on the Perello site plan dated January 11, 2021. The owner and builder are one and the same, assumed the approved total lot coverage included the roof overhanging the south deck. And based on this assumption, he believed he was under the maximum total lot coverage permitted of 2928 square feet. He proceeded without approval to add roof overhangs to the east and west sides of the house. These roof overhangs are identified as B and C, respectively. The addition of the roof overhangs A, B, and C account for the excess of 618 square feet beyond what was approved and 428 square feet beyond the maximum total lot coverage allowed by 255-11-10. Though it is regrettable that there is a 15% overage in total allowable lot coverage, and even though the owner, who is a builder, proceeded to build 2 additional roof overhangs without approval, I find that the benefit to the applicant does outweigh any detriment to the neighborhood and town. I believe allowing the variance is the only remedy short of a major redesign and construction work being done on the house. So as per the standards enumerated in 255-850 of the town code, I don't believe granting the variance will cause an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or create a detriment to nearby properties. I don't believe the benefit being sought by the applicant can be achieved by some other method that's feasible other than the area variance. And I don't believe the requested variance is substantial. The roof overhangs are over hardened surfaces, hard deck surfaces. And I don't believe that the granting the variance will have an adverse effect on the baseball game.
What is?
With a hammer. That's the first.
So I don't believe that the grant of the variance will have an adverse effect on the impact of the physical environmental conditions in the neighborhood or in the affected area of the town. The difficulty causing the applicant to request a variance was absolutely self-created, but it's not solely determining. Therefore, I vote to approve the variance.
Thank you. Jane?
Yes, thank you. So I am just going to go through how I look at the standards relative to whether or not I can approve this application. I do agree with Member Berger that, this is a building coverage overage, and it's 15% over the maximum, which numerically may not sound substantial, but I'm not sure the last time this board has approved building coverage variances, so I think they're significant, and I do look at the standard. Does the granting of the variance create a negative impact on the character of the neighborhood? And I do see going over building coverage. And again, our code is building coverage is building coverage. It's not like, oh, this is over a hardscape outside, it's just building coverage. So I do see that as having an impact on the character of the neighborhood. And it would not be something I would have approved had it come to us as a variance during the, well, it didn't come to us at all as a board. So I guess I can't really use that. The whole application went straight through the building department. Importantly, also, the applicant, who is the owner and the builder, was clear. He said that he missed it. He said he only held himself to blame, and I appreciate that openness. However, this is a licensed builder, and I do believe the responsibility was on the builder to build and make sure the surveys were correct that were submitted for a building permit. And so when I get to the standard of self-created, I know that particular standard is not always definitive in a decision, but I think it becomes much more relevant here because the house should not have been built based on a survey that was not submitted as part of the building permit process. And again, I do think it's substantial in not maybe in numeric, but substantial on an absolute basis because something like this is rare. And then I guess lastly, the benefit, it was interesting because the applicant didn't make a case for what benefit is created by having these overhangs. I guess one's over a grill area, one's over the entrance. They really serve no purpose that if, and then there's obviously the big overhang over a patio. So it would appear to me that there really isn't benefit. He also is a builder and can, I guess, remove them without having to go hire another builder. So all in, on a balancing basis, I'm going to deny this application.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I mean, this one's troublesome for me also. I think that I do believe being a developer, builder, owner, there should be a higher standard, and I do agree. I think, though, the circumstances, I agree with my other board members, Johan and Thorson, that the circumstances that surround this particular case and related to the proposed survey is not clear. I think there was an error there that didn't get picked up, and foresee. I don't like this. I don't like this application either. I don't like approving it, but I don't see the nexus for denial here. I think that the benefit to the owner at this point in the process does outweigh the detriment to the town. I do agree with member Johan that this is not affecting, even though he states that it's not a desirable look to the house or the neighborhood. It's still, the additions don't affect that in any way. With that, I'll vote to approve the application. Next, we have Susan Karasik at 67 Devon Road in Amagansett, Suffolk Tax Act number 300-174-6-11. Size and location is 6,000 square feet at 67 Devon Road in Beach Hampton, Section 1, Block 7, lots 72 to 74, map number 1203 in Amagansett. The description is to legalize and reconstruct an existing deck and allow an existing bin to remain on a parcel of land containing beach vegetation, dune land within jurisdiction, wetlands within rear and side yard line setbacks, and outside the town's pyramid regulations. The relief sought is a natural resources special permit pursuant to 255-420 of the East Hampton Town, and 3 variances are required for this application. 1 variance of 5 feet is required from 255-1110 of the town code to allow the existing decking to remain 10 feet from the eastern rear yard lot line where 15-foot setback is required. 1 variance of 255-1110 of the town code is required to allow the existing bin to remain 5.5 feet from the northern side yard lot line, where 9.6 feet setback is required. 1 variance of approximately 5 feet from 255-1172D is required to allow the existing bin to remain 5 foot outside the town's pyramid regulations. The zoning district is B residence, AE flood zone, elevation 13, and the secret class is type 2. Member Mary.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Okay, so our public hearing on this application was held on August 12th, 2025. The applicants, Susan and Philip Karasik, appeared on their own behalf. Also appealing with them was their contractor, and I apologize, but his first name was Pat, and I could actually not understand his last name, so could
Ray-Ban.
Ray-Ban. Okay, thank you so much. Excuse me, Mr. Ray-Ban, if you're watching. The applicants have owned the property for 32 years, since 1992. It's never been in front of the zoning board before. Tyler Borsak spoke on behalf of the planning department. The TAM we reviewed was dated July 3rd, 2025 in the record. And though the Karaseks had mentioned that they had spoken with their neighbors and that their neighbors either supported it or didn't object, there were no public comments formally submitted directly into the record or spoken at the hearing. The original house was built in 1964. The gross floor area was not specified on the survey or on the TAM, but based on the dimensions shown on the survey, rough calculation, this looks like a 1-story, about 1,000 square foot cottage that's, very representative of the character of Beach Hampton. And I think, as we also learned, the last CO on this property was 1992. Just in terms of context, in terms of how I look at the request or need for a relief, perhaps 90% or more of the hundreds of parcels in the area known as Beach Hampton are pre-existing non-conforming, meaningfully substandard to zone lot minimums. With respect to this parcel at 6,000 square feet, it's 70% undersized to the minimum and is actually among one of the very smaller lots of all the small lots in Beach Hampton. So the small lot challenge, I always take seriously when variance relief is sought. And at the same time, this, excessive density of the area also sets a bar that requires, I believe, us to be judicious and consider, especially the key question, if variance is sought, are the minimum necessary, and if they, protect neighbors' ability to enjoy their own properties peacefully. So as the notice said, that's just as background, that's context I gave. So there are two elements on the property that we know need relief. The deck in the rear of the house requires 33% rear lot line setback variance. Some portion of that rear deck has been in place since 1971, though it was expanded modestly since its construction. I guess it was constructed 5.5 decades ago. Per the TAM and the aerials, that expansion took place perhaps between 2007 and 2010. Not exactly sure the square footage expansion that it was, but it's come to us because the applicant is in need of repairing the deck and rebuilding it, which they intend to do in place and in kind, and obviously is looking to legalize the current dimensions. And then there's the small bin structure right on the northern property line that requires a 95% variance to the already reduced 9.6 northern side yard setback. That also requires a 5-foot pyramid variance. The applicant had said in the hearing that the bin was added to the property around 6 to 7 years ago. I also note that the NRSP is required because part of the lot is within jurisdiction related to wetlands on the west side across Devon Road. However, no wetland setback variances are required in this application, and I'd note that the entirety of the rear deck, based on the survey, is completely outside of the 150-foot wetland jurisdiction. The small bin is in the wetland jurisdiction, but again, outside of the required 100-foot setback. So I would just want to take the standards for these two things separately. So I do find the request for the rear yard lot line setback meets the standards, and I am going to vote to approve it. I'll just run through the standards quickly and how I find them. So whether the variance will cause undesirable change in character of the neighborhood, don't find that this variance will create an undesirable change in the character. It's not visible. The property is pretty well screened all around. The overall scale of the deck is small and proportional to the small house on this rather small lot. It won't be visible. As I said, it won't be visible. And I don't see that this expansion that was created in this variance will, it's really not going to expand the usage of the deck because it's already a very small deck. And I think what they have on it are, very minimal things like a grill, a table, and some chairs. So I don't see that this expansion, created a whole new living area that would have created additional disturbance. Whether the benefit sought by the applicant can be achieved by some other method feasible rather than a variance, no. There is really no other place on this property to add decking that wouldn't need a variance as well. Whether the requested area variance is substantial, at 33%, we tend to think of like 25% as the threshold for substantiality. But again, it's really not a big square footage area. And again, the benefit of outdoor living space is really not achievable with a lesser or no variance. Whether the grant will have an effect or impact on the physical environmental conditions, I'd say no to that. mostly because it's out of wetland jurisdiction, and whether the difficulty caused by applicant it was self-created. I mean, yes, it was self-created because they did it without the benefit of the permit, but it's also, the lot is very, very constrained, and so I take that into account. All right, so I'm approving that variance. With respect to the bin storage, it's not a big structure. And I believe that the applicant thought they were doing a good thing by placing it at that area on the property line, kind of right up, I guess, against a shed on the neighbor's property, which I guess also doesn't meet setbacks, but that's not before us. So I appreciate that they thought they were doing the right thing. However, it does appear from the survey, and I don't think it was clear that there is not another fairly, there's not another position for that small bin that would eliminate or significantly reduce the variance. So I want to see what my fellow board members say. Again, I think the board in Beach Hampton has historically been pretty strict about not granting, pyramid variances at the side yard lot line or those. So I'm leaning towards denying it, but I guess I'd rather hear what I'd like to see what my fellow board members say.
Okay. Thank you for that, Jane. I agree with Member Mearing on this. So we'll start with the deck also. It's completely outside of NRSP jurisdiction. And I agree. I saw the property. There isn't much space back there for this family to use. I too think it meets all the standards and for the variance, and I'm going to approve the deck. The bin, I'm in the same position. Right up against the property line, even though it's not that tall, it's still a substantial pyramid. And I thought that it was stated that there are other alternative locations that would be a better setback or even possibly entirely conforming. So I'm in the area there on that one. NRSP wise, I don't think it's really a problem because of the distance of the wetlands, but the fact of the pyramid and just the way this board has handled these in the past, I'm leaning towards denying that.
Okay, just for clarification, you said the deck was outside NRSP jurisdiction. I think you
It
mean
is.
wetland. Is it out of jurisdiction
Yeah,
or is it?
there's the 150
Well,
line.
It's beyond, it's
150.
outside of the setbacks, but still
No.
within jurisdiction. Oh, that's the
150 is
jurisdiction. Fine,
jurisdiction,
fine. I
right.
just want that
That's the
clarified. Yeah,
150,
that's
yeah,
correct. Okay. Ed.
Yeah, I'm largely in agreement with my fellow board members on this. I think that the deck, that's a constrained lot. I think the deck is not going to create an impact in any way. I realize we're granting a variance of 5 feet here and that the deck was done without the benefit of a building permit. I see all of that, but I think that the benefit to the applicant here on the deck is clear. And I don't think that it does provide, it doesn't present any real environmental danger or particular impact to a neighbor in this particular case. However, with the bin, I'm in agreement. I think we've been pretty hard on people with bins on property lines and sheds on property lines, largely because of pyramid as well as the location. The time people have presented to us that location is not going to be bothersome to a neighbor. In this case, they say there's a shed behind it, and so it blocks the view of it. That shed could always be removed. We've got to remember we're doing these things in perpetuity. So I can't approve that shed at that time. If a compromise was to say to move it, if they had said move it to the house, even though it might not have been fully conforming, I think that would have helped us with the pyramid regulation. So as it sits now, I'll approve the deck and deny, for very much the same reasons my fellow board member said, the bin. I think that had there been some suggestion of moving it back to the house, I would have been able to approve that, but it didn't come up. And so at this point, as it's been presented to us, yes to the deck, and I'm going to deny the bin.
Thank you, John.
The current owners acquired the property in 1992, which at the time had a wooden deck of approximately 450 square feet, and it did meet the required rear yard setback of 15 feet. Between 2007 and 2010, they expanded the deck to its current size of approximately 800 square feet, violating rear yard setback by 4.9 feet or 33%. Current owners installed the bin in its current location around 2008. It violates side yard setbacks by 9.1 feet, i.e. 95%, where 9.6 feet is required, and the pyramid law by 5 feet. Now, please note that the variance application dated October 1st, 2024 indicates the project that they requested the application as replacing an existing 900 square foot deck. As per the standards in Town Code 255-850, I don't believe that granting the variance will cause an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood or create a detriment to nearby properties, provided the deck is replaced exactly as is and the bin is eliminated or moved to a conforming location. During the hearing, the owner did offer to eliminate the bin, and it was suggested by Tyler that the bin could be moved to the house, which would be a more conforming location, and even possibly to the left of the shed, which would be entirely conforming. So it can be moved or eliminated. I do believe the benefit being sought by the application can be achieved by some other method feasible for the applicant to pursue, i.e. reducing the size of the rear deck back to its original size, meeting the required 15-foot setback. A 15-foot setback is required for the deck in that it is attached to the principal structure, and principal structures require 15-foot setbacks. If the deck weren't attached to the principal structure, I'm not exactly how that would work, then only a 10-foot setback would be required. This consideration helps my approval. There is no remedy, in my opinion, for the bin in its current location. The deck requires, is the variance substantial? I think a 33% variance is substantial, but as stated previously, the distinction between a principal versus accessory structure setback is mitigating. The bin as is extremely non-conforming, both per side yard setbacks and the pyramid law. I don't believe granting the variance will have an adverse effect on the neighborhood or the environment. And the difficulty causing the applicant to request the variance was self-created, which is not determining. Provided that proper project limiting fencing is required, I don't believe replacing the existing decking will disturb, degrade, or imperil the wetlands across the street, and I therefore approve the NRSP. So I approve the deck and deny the bin.
Okay. Yeah, I also agree. I think the deck meets the standards. I agree for the reasons my board members set forth, as well as the bin. The bin, we've not approved many bins on the property line or near the property or pyramid, whatever. And I think that the benefit to the applicant in this case does not outweigh that detriment to the town on the bin. So I would vote to deny the bin as well. So I'm in agreement with the board. Thank you.
Council, I didn't say specifically, but I want to say it. I'm approving the natural resources special permit as well for the application. Sorry. I approved the deck, but not the bin, but I'm approving the NRSP overall for the application.
Thank you. Next, we have Robert McKinley at 239 Fairview Avenue in Montauk, Suffolk, tax map number 300-19-7-40.8. Size and location is 16,851 square feet at 239 Fairview Avenue, Montauk Beach Development Corps, Subdivision 7, filed May 6, 1927, is map number 1017 in Montauk. The description is to construct a 490 square foot second-story addition and upgrade the sanitary system on a parcel of land containing freshwater wetlands. Relief sought is a natural resources special permit pursuant to 255-430 of the Town Code, and a variance of 23.5 feet is required for the proposed addition where 100 foot from the wetland is the minimum required and any other relief necessary. The zoning district is B residence, Zone X, flood zone, and the secret class is type 2. And this is Ed.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. McKinley, you'll remember that the hearing was held on August 19th, 2025. We were working from a survey that was dated at September 9th, 2024. We received building plans from Randall Goya Architects that were dated July 2022. We received them on September 11th, 24. We also had septic drawings, 2 sets of them, one dated July 10th, 2024, and received September 11th, 2024. And we received updated septic drawings that included a hookup to a potential future cabana, which is not in front of us tonight. But those was an updated set of drawings we received on August 14th, 25, received on the 18th of the same month. The applicant was represented by Joel Halsey of Lighthouse Land Planning. The town planner was Sarah Lewis. The existing home was constructed in 1978. The most recent C of O was issued in 2016. The current owners took possession of the property in 2017. This parcel received an NRSP approval. Excuse me, where I was.
Sorry.
That's okay. Oh, yeah. NRSP approval for pool, patio fencing, and pool equipment in 2023. An NRSP and a 23.5-foot variance from the required 100-foot wetlands setbacks is required with this application. The property borders on Peters Run to its north, where an existing vegetable garden that would require a variance approval will instead be removed. The applicant offered that up at the hearing. The property is currently overcleared at 12,363 square feet, and the applicant proposes to revegetate 234 square feet to bring the total clearing into compliance below the 12,209 permitted maximum. The existing house is 1,496 square feet with the proposed 468 square foot second floor addition. The new structure will now be 1,994 square feet. The proposed addition significantly, I think, will be placed entirely over the existing house footprint, how the house sits at this point. The proposed IAOWTS septic system will be located to the roadside of the structure in the most conforming location, and the soil leaching fields will take up more ground area, but will require less excavation and potentially cause less disturbance to the parcel. Overall, I think the application proposes to bring total lot clearing back into compliance, remove an existing unpermitted garden from within wetlands jurisdiction, and to install a new IA sanitary system while looking for approval to add a 490 square foot addition over the footprint of the existing house. I go to the standards and I ask myself, under 255-551, whether the preservation of natural resources, under 1, whether we're doing best for preservation of natural resources, and that all structures have been and uses other than coastal structures shall be located upland and as far away. I think that this is not changing in the sense of footprint where the house was. I think the addition of the IA system obviously is a benefit. That under 255-5-40, specifically whether the house is compatible with the neighborhood. I don't believe that this particular second floor addition will be incompatible. It sits far enough from the road. It's fairly well screened. And if that, it's not a large and overpowering amount of work or addition to the thing. Whether the environmental protection has been watched out for in decay. I think that the natural characteristics of the site, we're talking particularly about Peters Run here and the removal of the garden. The garden was, of course, illegal, so it's not mitigation, but the fact that it was going to be removed and that is to be revegetated down along Peters Run, the 234 feet is being put a revegetation in the most advantageous place to protect the environment. I think that was all a plus. All in, I think that this is an application that is providing a net benefit environmentally. I think it rises to the standards of the NRSP that we're looking for. I think Peters Run has been important to us on several other applications, and I think the applicant was cognizant of that in the proposal we have here. And Mr. Chairman, I'm willing to approve this application in its entirety.
Thank you. Terry?
I am basically in agreement with my fellow board member. I'll restate some of the reasons. Joe Halsey, presented for the application, the two small second-story decks. He stated no new clearing would be needed for the project. As already stated, a 1,496 square foot house will become 1994 with the additions. They are offering an IA system, and they are revegetating to bring them back into conformity for clearing. And just note there was a little garden next in that area of the revegetation, which will be removed. And Joel stated that that would be revegetated also. It's a small garden. They did keep away from the wetlands pretty much, and away from Peters Run, which was more running across through the northwesterly side of the property, and these additions are going on the north in the center, but on the easterly side of the house. There is a pool, and they do have a cabana. It's not part of this project. I think they already have a permit for it, but they did send the updated sanitary to include plumbing to go into the pool house. It says proposed cabana on here, but it'll be a pool house. And I think it does meet the standards, and it does meet the NRSP standards as well as the variance standards. They did accept all the conditions of approval. The only thing on there that might be outstanding, that a New York State DEC permit is needed, or I guess a non-jurisdiction. And I don't recall if they've applied for that yet or gotten it. But I am approving the application.
Thank you. Jane?
Yes, thank you. The proposed increase of a partial second story at 498 square feet represents a 33% expansion in the total GFA from 1,496 to 1,994, and was discussed on the record. That new GFA still remains 62% of the code that was in place at the time that their application was deemed complete. It's not something we really take into account, but since Mr. Halsey did mention it, it is also 75% below the maximum of the new code that's coming in. We know that, I think that the TAM said that there are 3 different wetlands that impact this property. And so, the lot is somewhat constrained, especially, of course, noted is the proximity to Peters Run. We've spoken about Peters Run several times before in applications, and we know it's especially sensitive, and as the TAM says, and of course, this is something factored into my deliberation, quote, the value of protecting the area around Peters Run to the water quality of Lake Montauk cannot be understated. So there's no new clearing, there's a small revegetation, and that brings them back into compliance with max clearing allowances. They were a little bit over, and as been said, there's that little vegetable garden that will add a little more when they remove that, I think, to the proposed revegetation. We've got the sanitary upgrade. I do believe that the applicant has demonstrated compliance with the standards for the variances, as well as the natural resources special permit. I'll just run through a couple of them quickly. The benefit to the applicant outweighs any detriment to the neighborhood or the town as a whole. Yes, I believe that is the case here. The area of variance is the minimum variance necessary. I do believe it is. I mean, they're doing a partial second story over an existing house, and I think most of the house structure is within wetland variance jurisdiction. There's really not even a place they could put it on, if they were to do a 1-story or first floor addition that could improve or reduce the variance. So I think that standard's met. The grant of the variance will, in my view, not create an undesirable change in the character of the neighborhood. I already talked about the numbers. It's not even a full second, not even a half second story. And we know no member of the public expressed any concerns. Again, I don't think the benefit sought by the applicant could be achieved by some other way. It's an extra bedroom. Again, I can't imagine you could find another spot to do this. Whether the variance is substantial, I mean, it's just under 25%, so I don't even really see this as a substantial, particularly substantial variance, even with the constraint on the lots. And I don't think, again, because it's a second story, there's a little re-veg, there's the offset of the one extra bedroom, because of the new septic system. So I don't see any adverse impact on the environmental conditions in the neighborhood. And for all those reasons, without going through them again, I do think that also makes this meet the hurdles for the NRSP standards as well. So I am approving the application.
Thank you. John, you have anything to add?
I'm in agreement with my fellow board members. I think it's a very well-considered application. I like the location very much of the IA system. I believe it's a net environmental win for the town, and I approve the application in its entirety.
Thank you. I do too, without anything else to add. Thank you. Next, we have Mark Goldstein and Catherine Borzon at 724 Hans Creek Road in East Hampton, Suffolk, tax map number 300-74-5-2. Size and location is 35,550 square feet at 724 Hans Creek Road, lot 23, Hans Creek Harbor. File 513-1966, map number 4629, East Hampton. And the description is to allow a stone wall to remain within minimum wetland setbacks and fence gate and slate walk to remain within the jurisdiction of a wetland. The relief sought is a natural resources special permit pursuant to 255-420 of the town code and one variance is required for this application. A variance of 31.1 feet is needed to allow a stone wall to remain 68.9 feet from this wetland where 100 foot is required. In any other relief necessary, the zoning district is B residence zone X flood zone and the secret class is type 2. And this was in my neighborhood, my report, so. The hearing was held on August 19th as well. The property was located at 724 Hans Creek Road. It was represented by Alex Balsam. Right off the bat, I find this to be a de minimis request for a number of reasons. The TAM, the best way for me to go through this is by quoting the TAM here. The application is requesting to allow a 1.6 foot tall wall. It's 1.6 foot tall with a driveway that's been in existence from the C of O from 1986. Although the driveway does not have to meet wetland setbacks because it's a pervious driveway, the stone wall does need to meet the setbacks. It is a structure. In this case, if you look at the topo of the survey, the topo from the driveway drops drastically down towards the wetlands. I think it's my opinion that the stone wall request is de minimis, but even helping the runoff from the driveway to run down the grading towards the wetlands, the planning department's concern here was that the water that is retained from the retaining wall traveling down the driveway, we dealt with some dry wells. The applicant has agreed to hire an engineer and design dry wells and install dry wells. So I would like to make sure that's a condition of the approval. As far as the slate walkway and the fence, these have been in existence for some time, and they are de minimis. And I would approve those as well. So overall, I find that this application does meet the standards, NRSP and the variance standards for approval, with the condition that the water be contained in dry wells at the bottom of the driveway. Ed, you want to go?
Sure. I'm going to agree with the chairman on this. I think that when you visit the site, what takes you right away is that the severe drop-off just beyond the driveway goes right down to the wetlands. I realize that the wall went in without previous approvals. I think that there is very likely a net benefit of having the wall there by funneling that water down. Now, there's no benefit without the dry wells, but that was quickly approved by the applicant that he would be putting them in, and it would be up to the standards of that would be provided by an engineer, so that we would get somewhere to take this excessive rain when they happen and shunt that water and keep it from dust curling its way back down and possibly doing damage in filling wetlands and whatever. When I looked at it on the site, the wall seems to me to be actually a fairly good idea. Now, we had come in front of us, and as you said, as the chair said, that driveway has existed for a longer period of time, and I think that overall, this is a small ask in relative to what we see on the site and what the potential there in the future was. I could imagine that without that wall, we'd see some erosion happening down towards the wetlands. It seems to me it's helping constrain it. I don't know if that's the right particular perspective to have on it, but I think that the catch basins down at the bottom of the driveway with water being funneled to it is a net environmental benefit. I'm going to approve this application.
Thank you. Jane?
Yes, I agree with both the chairman and with Member Johan, so I won't belabor it. But, I'd say at 1 foot 6 inches, I don't think there's any visual impact on anything. Don't see it as having a negative environmental impact. I think there's a benefit to them having the wall, as in not, having guests plunge over the side of that very high driveway. The driveway's been there. I also think the de minimis, dealing with the sort of stepping stone walkway and the fence, I don't see any environmental issues for that. I agree on the comments about the catch basins. And so all in, I'm going to approve the application. All in, it's only one element, but yes.
Terry?
I agree with everybody else on the same things. 1.6 foot wall of driveway that's been there since 1977 hasn't presented a real problem running down to the road. The application, the applicant rather, has agreed to the catch basins for the driveway. The one thing I guess I'd like to add, there was a discussion, that there's a pool permit that's still open. Can that be like conditioned that they check out why, or?
If it's open, I think wouldn't the building department make sure they close it out?
Morgan said that we don't know why. Nobody knows why. It's still
Well, maybe
open.
that's what they're trying to do. The open permit just didn't have to come before us, is what I understand, which my guess is, right, Tyler?
I would imagine. They can't get a CO until they get the other issues fixed, which is why they're in front of you for the other issues.
So we just leave it as is? We don't say anything about it?
Well, I think it would be the purview of the building department.
Okay.
They'll have to,
Okay.
when they go, they have to get a building permit for this stuff to get it all legalized, and then that's going to be part of it. So it'll get closed out.
Okay. All right, but I agree with my
Good
fellow
thought.
board members on the NRSP and the variance for the wall.
Thank you. John?
I agree with my fellow board members. I think the wall is actually, I see it as a safety feature. That's a very steep grade on the other side of the wall. I drove there and parked head in, and I was sure glad that wall was there when I backed out. So as long as there is a drainage system, I approve this application in its entirety.
Thank you. Good counsel.
Yep, all good. Thank you.
Next, we have 53 TI Drive LLC, 53 Treasure Island Drive, Amagansett, Suffolk Tax Map Number 300-175-5-36. Size and location is 8,000 square feet at 53 Treasure Island Drive, Beach Hampton, Section 4, Block 6, Lots 9 through 12, map number 1319, and Amagansett. The description is to allow an existing shower shed, approximately 112 square foot of slate patio, approximately 833 square foot of decking, LPG tanks, fencing, and AC units to remain within setbacks and jurisdiction of freshwater wetlands. The relief sought is a natural resources special permit pursuant to 255-420 of the East Hampton Town, and 8 variances are required for this application. Variances of 55.1 feet, 57.2 feet, 43.5 feet, 46.5 feet, 45.8 feet, 47 feet, and 46.7 feet are required from 255-430 of the Town Code to construct or propose LPG tanks, 44.9 feet, fencing, 42.8 feet, AC units, 56.5 feet, outdoor shower, 53.5 feet, shed, 54.2 feet, slate patio, 53 feet, and decking, 53.3 feet from freshwater wetlands where 100-foot setbacks are required. One variance of 7.5 feet is from 255-1110 of the Town Code is required to allow the existing LPT tank to remain 2.5 feet from the eastern rear yard lot line where a 10-foot setback is required and any other relief necessary. The zoning district is B residence, AE flood zone, elevation 10, and secret class is type 2. Jane?
Yes, thank you. Okay, so this public hearing was held on August 19th. We know this is an 8,000 square foot lot that's 60% undersized relative to the B residence minimum. Again, not different than most of the lots we see around Beach Hampton and on Treasure Island Drive. This lot, like many of the ones on the east side of Treasure Island Drive, are contiguous at the rear to a very substantial and fragile swath of reserve that includes extensive wetlands and very nice dune land. The applicant was represented by Britton Bistrian. The house was constructed in 1958, a 458 square foot summer cottage, so it's very original. It's in the family current ownership for 67 years. That little cottage was expanded somewhat over the years by closing it a 96 square foot porch and I guess at some point a 380 square foot addition, but it still remains a modest sized house from a GFA perspective and is, as I mentioned, very authentic and reflects the historic character of Beach Hampton and Treasure Island Drive. Although it is within 17% of building coverage max allowed. As we learned as part of the public hearing process, none of the 4 building permits obtained between 1958 and 1962 were ever closed out. According to the property history card, no CO has ever been issued on the lot. So the purpose of this application is to secure a CO and is stated by the applicant's agent in order to facilitate a sale of the property by the current generation of family owners. Tyler Borsak spoke on behalf of the planning department on this application. TAM, July 10th, 2025 was reviewed. We're working off of a Saskis survey. The most recent one was dated May 14th, 2024. And just for the history buffs out there, there's an original 1960, I don't know if you call it a survey, it's sort of a plot of the house that goes way back. And you can see the different configuration of the house. There was one letter of support received into the record from a neighbor, Lyle Greenfeld. I think he's a neighbor. I thought in the application it said he might have sold the house, but nonetheless he has familiarity with the property and he talked about the authenticity of the property relative to the unique character of Treasure Island Drive. So, and again, in addition to the NRSP, the applicant's seeking 8 variances, 7 of which are wetland setback variances, all of which are substantial. The LPG tanks require 2 variances, one wetland setback and one rear lot line setback. I just also want to clarify, the notice talks about a fencing variance. The best I can tell is that fence is the fence around the LPG tanks, right? Okay, just because we never really clarified that. And then, obviously AC units, outdoor shower, shed, slate patio, and decking. So I'm going to take the AC units, the outdoor shower, the shed, the slate patio, decking collectively, and I'm going to approve the variances for those elements. Most of them appear to have been in place at least since 1984. The aerials seem to show that, except for the slate patio, which I think has been probably came later. I see the variances, although the variances are substantial numerically, again, because they've been there for so long, and also because, again, the back of that property is really all within that wetland jurisdiction. So, again, the deck is small. It's a standard appurtenance in this area. I don't see it as having an impact on neighbors or on the environmental conditions. The slate patio that was added, it doesn't extend further to the wetlands than the existing decking. It sort of kind of squares it off. It's not a particularly big area. I think there's benefits to the applicant from having that outdoor space, as well as having the shed and the outdoor shower. So all in, I think the benefit to the applicant outweighs the detriment. They're longstanding, existing. I think they all meet the variance standards and the NRSP standards. With respect to the LPG tanks, this element requires the largest of the wetland setbacks in the application, and I said also requires a very substantial lot line setback. Yes, I understand it's the rear setback is to the reserve, but I don't necessarily see these meeting the standards in the balancing test, because it appears clear in the survey that there are multiple other locations on the property to move these and likely eliminate both variances. The applicant's agent actually never really made a case of why they couldn't be relocated to a more conforming location. And again, it's kind of similar theme to what we talked about on staying sort of keeping to our somewhat discipline about lot line setbacks. I'm not going to approve that in particular. So lastly, I just want to turn to the recommendation from the planning board that as mitigation, they recommended a 10-foot vegetative buffer should be established along the rear eastern property line. I acknowledge also that Ms. Bistrian characterized the idea of this mitigation as an overreach. However, I don't want to dismiss it. I want to hear what my fellow board members do have to say, because certainly that buffer would be very beneficial, given that there are structures, no matter how long they've been there, that are, within, close to those wetlands and dune land. But I also understand that it might, and I think that there's a nexus to it. I just not yet sure. I want to hear what everyone else has to say. If people also think that it's important to establish.
Now, for clarification, that buffer would be where again?
I think Tyler can answer. I think it was
where the re-veg is?
I thought he wanted it relative to
Rear
the
parcel suggested
The
here.
rear.
it's the rear the eastern property line, right? Tyler?
Yeah, that's what it says here, the entire rear of the parcel.
I think it was a full 10-foot buffer is
Yes.
being asked for along that whole 10-foot deep buffer along that
By the wetlands.
eastern property line. Yeah. So, I mean, in principle, I think it would be very beneficial and offset these variances, but most of these structures have been there, for quite a while. So I'm going to want to hear. And then also, I don't know that it was said, but I think there should be a dry well for the shower.
Yeah.
That's where I am.
Okay. Thank you. Terry?
I agree again with Member Murin. Just some notes from Tyler, the reserve area, and the variances are substantial, particularly the LPG tank and the fence around it are the largest, as well as the dimensional variance for that. Tyler did say, as far as everything was there for a very long time, so they doesn't really feel that these have been impacted throughout the years. The sleigh patio, he estimated, was probably put in around 2013. And as far as the LPG, the planner also stated that there are other locations, alternative locations for those tanks and the fence around it, I guess. I am going to approve all of the items except the LPG tank and the fencing around it. I denied that. They can be moved elsewhere. And as far as the buffer, I think it would be nice. I don't think the purpose of this whole thing is that they can sell the house. So if it could be buffered and then the house sold, I feel that might be better than leaving it as is and having somebody else come in and then do something. So I am leaning toward that 10-foot buffer also.
Thank you. Ed?
Yeah, I'm going to agree largely with what's been said. I have a few things I'm going to vary on. I think that this is as was explained by Bistrian, this has been a long haul for them. They came in front of us, or in front of the town. They went to the building department, got a list of things to improve, had to make several different approvals. And when they were all done and thought they were about to be awarded it, they were told they have to come in front of us for what are obvious reasons. And so I think I have a certain amount of sympathy for that perspective, that they've been through a lot and they've tried to act in good faith along the way. A couple of key factors here, though, was mentioned by Member Meering, that this is a traditional house very much in character what was the old Beach Hampton look, that whole parcel, small houses on small parcels. Now with, this predates, of course, modern environmental zoning. Now, anything you do on that property would require some sort of approval by a ZBA. These are properties all down in there that require help from us anytime any work gets done. But I look at the number of things there, they're all extraneous to the house. They didn't come in front of us looking for redevelopment or to change the size of the house significantly in any way. We're not looking to add some second floor house to the house. We're not looking for an addition that would make it closer to wetlands. I think all of these are positive in favor of what they've done. I feel the very same way about approving everything and asking questions about the LP tanks. My question is, if you ask them to move, are we eliminating a variance? And the answer is no. We can improve it. We can improve it slightly. I'm not sure that what we've asked for them to do, if we make them move it, they can ever make this free of requiring a variance for the fence around it. And I think that that's something that is a certain amount of hardship to them. Now they're in front of us looking for approvals on a good many things. And we've asked, what can we have back? I think I specifically asked Britton Bistrian, and she said, we think, as was mentioned by Member Meering, that it's a bit of a reach for us to ask to have a buffer put in, because that's an expense for people who've already gone through a great deal of expense. That may be the case, but nonetheless, I think that I'm going to stand in this position and say that I'd be willing to approve the entire application, and I think we should be asking for a buffer. I think it's something that's going to be passed on, particularly, I know 67 years of ownership, but if the house were to be sold, I think we'd want to know we've done the best we can to protect it environmentally. So I will approve this application with the condition that we do take the recommendation of the planners here and require a 10-foot buffer.
Thank you. John, you want to attempt it, or do you want me to?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Yeah, I'm in agreement with bits and pieces of everything I've heard so far. I do think the proximity to the wetlands of the shower would benefit greatly from a dry well. And I would like to see the LPG tanks moved. And I think a revegetation in the rear, that's what we're talking about in the back, would be a great idea.
Are we
And
talking, okay, that's a buffer, so re-veg buffer?
that's what we're talking about.
I believe the planning department said they wanted a vegetated buffer.
Yeah.
And what makes us, I've heard it mentioned that the house is being sold. Did we hear that, or this is being done to
Yeah, I
prep
believe
the
the
house?
family.
That was what
that's what
the
Brittany
narrative
said.
was told to us, yeah.
So I think asking for these conditions now is an opportune moment. So I'll approve the application. I would like to see revegetation and the LPG tanks moved and a dry well for the shower.
Thank you. So when it comes, I agree with the board members, when it does come to the LPG tanks, the TAM, it literally says this, that the LP tank is also located approximately 2.5 feet from the eastern rear yard lot line, a significant deviation from the required 10 feet. However, this is a relief request from a reserved area, and the board may find that it meets the variance standard since there's no significantly directed impact neighbor or no trail system would be impacted by the structures. And so oftentimes we look for that type of uniqueness where it's not really affecting a neighbor. So I'm going to approve the LPG tanks in their location. Regarding the buffer, I'm on the fence about the buffer, but I will go along with my board. I think that it's a good idea, especially if the house is being sold. We do get to protect that over time. So I will agree with my board members on that, on the buffer as well. Good?
Okay.
So what do we have here? We have, how many on the LTB tanks?
So I have,
Just you and I.
Ed's okay with him staying. I have you okay with him staying, and then everybody else, I think.
Said relocate.
Yeah.
So 3-2 on them.
My question, I don't remember, were they buried tanks or I don't know?
They're above.
No, they're above.
Okay, so that means they got to move them to a conforming, it's not approved, the
John said
tanks.
you wanted them moved?
Yeah.
Oh, you did, okay, yeah, okay.
So the variance for the tanks would be denied, correct?
Right.
And the fence around it.
And the fence around it. And then the vegetative buffer, that would be something that you'd want a covenant for? The covenant to keep a vegetated buffer? Is that what
Well, there is no vegetated buffer right now, so.
Right.
Well, no, I understand it's a condition, but is it a condition that will be covenanted and they'll file a covenant of restriction at the county? Or is this just something that, it's not we're not asking them to re-veg, because then in a re-veg, you could move it around, if theory. But if it's a vegetative buffer along the whole property line, that would be something that you want in perpetuity? Is that what we're saying?
Well, if we're requiring it now, whether it's covenanted or not, we would be approving it. We would be requiring it in perpetuity, would we not? I think a covenant is further protection over it, wouldn't
Well,
it?
I would say that it would be hard I'm just speaking on my own experience working with the town and the town's documentation. It's going to be difficult to know. If you want this to protect it all, yes, it will be part of a approval, but that might just get lost in the shuffle 10 years from now, 2 years from now, 2 months from now.
Otherwise, it shows up in a title report as a
If they are to sell it and somebody is to buy it, they'll know there's
Right.
that's my, legally, I would say that makes more sense. If that's something that if you guys feel that for as long as this, the improvements are there, that,
And I think we should.
We're
cover
asking for revegetation, aren't we?
well,
I mean, that's what the TAM.
We're asking them to
Tam was-
establish, as I understand it, we're asking them to establish.
a 10-foot revegetation buffer. So does
Right,
that mean you just want to re-veg and just do a re-veg and be done with it for 10 feet along the back?
No, I think you can covenant that too. I mean, to protect it, yeah.
Or you just do or there would be a scenic easement
Well,
basically at that point.
It's the other way to do it. But we didn't talk about that at the public hearing.
I don't know that we have to.
I think we want to protect that it's going to stay there.
I think
when the house
I think the
sells.
purposes of us doing it and the suggestion in the planning is to make sure that area is protected, I guess, in perpetuity, so.
Okay, so, yeah,
So,
so that means,
what do you think?
so,
Should put a covenant on it?
Yeah.
I think that if it's going to sell, and that's one of the reasons we're looking at this.
Well, I think that's the purpose of getting it now, is to get it cleaned up.
Okay.
and then would that be something that would be, you would want a revegetation plan?
Yeah, for
Yes.
the planning department to approve.
And then there will be a dry well for the outdoor shower. That's the other.
Outdoor shower requires a
Drywall.
drywall.
Yeah.
All right, that can be done. I think that's all I got.
You good?
Yep.
All right, we go on to other decisions. We have under building permit certificate of occupancies, we have descent at 137 Edgemere Street in Montauk, Suffolk tax map number 300-28-4-2. Tyler, you want to walk us through this?
Sure. Pull it up.
Oh, that's okay, I just want to see what it says.
This one was Brian's. This was the original survey that was approved.
Oh, so,
Yeah, so this was the one that was approved. It was originally approved back in 2017 for a 2,975 square foot two-story residence, decking, swimming pool, sanitary system, and the replacement of 2 floating docks with a new 4-foot by 10-foot fixed dock on a parcel land containing surface wetlands. The most significant part of this is originally they wanted to make it 4-foot by 20-foot. The board said, no, we wanted 4 feet by 10 feet, and that was what was approved. What was constructed is a 4-foot by 20-foot dock. So that's the biggest issue that's on this one. So our suggestion is that the board say, no, it needs to be cut back to 4 feet by 10 feet. Additionally, on top of that, the building, the total coverage is 703 square feet over. We're not quite sure where that comes from, but it's over by a few hundred square feet. And the as-built swimming pool is 1.5 feet closer, not a significant issue. But again, it was raised in Brian's memo. But he says minimally, the dock should be reduced to the 4-foot by 10-foot dimension required by the determination and depicted on an updated survey, revised accordingly.
And what does he say about the others?
Not much, just that there are discrepancies between what was approved and what was constructed.
Could you
In
repeat
what?
those?
Again, you said what's the discrepancy in what coverage? Building coverage?
Total coverage was 703 square feet larger, and the swimming pool is 1.5 feet closer. But it appears to be the same as,
Closer
roughly
to
the
what?
same as what was
To the
approved.
wetlands, I think.
closer to what- Here, I have a copy of this memo here.
So
So small.
larger than what was approved, but doesn't, okay.
So
It
what,
appears to
703
be
feet?
roughly the same as what the board approved. We weren't really able to identify where that total coverage came from, but it appears to be roughly the same.
So in any case, if we're going to get, if they want, the 700 feet seems substantial. I don't know. It seems substantial. Does that need to be a modification?
You could certainly require one if you.
I
felt
mean,
it was necessary.
we've had modifications that require a lot less than that.
Yeah.
A lot less than
Yeah.
that.
Especially
It
since I
could
don't
be
even know.
like changes in the driveway. That would be one area where 700 square feet could come from.
Well, I'd want to know.
Was there a
what was
change in the
built.
driveway?
I don't know. This one was Brian's. Looking at it, it doesn't look significantly different than this. I mean, it's a little bit different right here, up in this corner.
I can't see where you're pointing.
Yeah, let me see if I can.
I mean, I absolutely agree with the dock.
yeah, but 700 feet's got to be
But
somewhere.
I don't know where that's, I think that needs to be defined or.
It's total coverage, yeah.
It sounds like it'd be a much larger parking area.
Like
but
up
you're
in
saying
here,
doesn't look
it might have changed a little bit up in this area. You can see that? If you come back to here, this looks like it just came in a little less steep. So I think that might be some of it by the looks of it. It's really hard to tell.
Well, you think before we say that's okay or not okay, do you think we should have clarification on that?
Yes,
I definitely want
definitely.
clarification and then maybe do it as a
Maybe we
modification.
table to get some
Table it for
clarification.
today.
But I
And I mean,
think,
if it is this driveway change, then that's out of jurisdiction. So
but I don't know if anybody disagrees with me, but that dock is a no-go.
Agreed. Absolutely. That gray area is what it was approved, Tyler?
this is
for the
what
driveway?
this is the as-built survey.
And the approved was, show us.
The approved is this.
Just blow it up a little.
And it's in the driveway coverage, you think?
We don't know.
We don't know.
But just by looking at it, I can see it's slightly different.
I know, but I think we should have an enumeration, a clarification of where it is and what it is.
Yes.
700 feet is significant.
Yeah.
It's really a large number.
I mean, the pool is only, quote, only, but it's a 1.5 closer, so I don't know if the pool got bigger. I don't know if that decking on the back got a little
Yeah, it
bigger.
looks
I don't
like-
know,
it
but
looks
I want to
real
know.
Similar.
Yeah, well,
And I mean, the setback change to the pool by 1.5 feet, that's not a huge difference. That 700 feet certainly didn't come from that.
right, it could be a combination of things. So, yeah, I would like clarity and potentially still leave it open as a modification if we agree.
From the north.
Well, this was a C of O.
Gravel, yeah, that could be a few hundred square feet. That's,
That's not there.
And the deck is no-go.
But then there's that concrete wall. Just ask Walbridge to do it. What's going on?
yeah,
You can compare.
trying to figure it out. Yeah,
It's hard, that other survey is hard to read.
it is.
And the other thing we need to know is does that increase affect any variances, right?
Sure, I mean, we're gonna have to send it back to them for the doc.
Yeah, we
anyway.
have to have
Variance is different,
clarification
yeah.
on
We can
that.
tell them to let us know
It
where the
changes the
differences have come from and
Yeah.
then tackle that at that point.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Okay.
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 We have an extension of time of Juan Zalak at 100 DeForest Road, Montauk, Suffolk Tax Act number 300-32.1-1-226, an extension of a 2019 determination. I kind of remember this, but it's recent.
Yeah.
We can have a,
That was the one that the board gave them the okay to go for their building permit recently because they had to wait for the sanitary system in
Oh,
the Montauk Shores to finish up. So that's that application.
do we have a motion?
I'm
on
okay
that?
with the extension of time.
Your motion.
Okay, in the matter of Wanzlak at 100 DeForest Road, Montauk, tax map 300-32.1-1-226. Make a motion to approve the extension of time.
Second,
Concur.
Concur, thank you. Next, we have SHM Star Island LLC at 32 Star Island Road, Montauk, Suffolk Tax map number 300-6-4-9- 9, 10, and 16.1, extension of a 2021 determination.
Yeah, this one's pretty recent. It was for like they were replacing the swimming pool, the patio around the pool, a couple of other small changes
Right.
to the building. It was pretty minor generally, but the pool was the bigger part of that one. But it's fairly recent.
We have a motion?
I'll make a motion, because this was mine, I think. In the matter of SHM Star Island LLC, 32 Star Island Road, Montauk, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-6-4-9-10 and 16.1. I'd like to make a motion to approve the extension
Second.
time.
Concur.
Concur.
Concur, thank you. Do the draft minutes of Tuesday, August 19th, 2025.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to approve the draft minutes for Tuesday, August 19th, 2025 for the East Hampton Town Zoning Board of Appeals.
Second?
Concur.
Concur, thank you.
Now, there's a very minor change. We approved the August 12th minutes, and there's a minor change that I need to make on it, but Samantha had her baby, so I wasn't able to talk to anybody about that. So I'm just letting you know. I'll talk to I'll talk to Julie about it, and we'll handle it next week. Yeah, it's
It's
a little
more than that,
fuzzy
yeah.
word.
Fuzzy word.
Cuspy.
Thank you. Move on to resolutions. We have Mendoza at 94 Cooper Lane, East Hampton, Suffolk Tax Map number 300-160-3-1. Council, this was a clarification, wasn't it?
Yeah, it
Not-
was, I corrected who actually voted on it because the alternate was on that one, and I just mistakenly left him off of that. And then also, when it was noticed, we didn't include the pool patio along with the pool. So now we're just including the patio as part of the approval as well. That's attached. It's between the house and the pool. So it was,
Right. So can we have a motion?
Yep, so that was mine.
As
So,
amended.
yep, in the matter of Mendoza, 94 Cooper Lane, East Hampton, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-160-3-1. I'd like to make a motion to approve the amendment to allow an existing pool patio with associated equipment to remain within minimum front yard setbacks.
Second.
Concur.
Concur.
Concur. Thank you. Next, we have Savina Delamata at 41 Gardeners Drive, Amagansett, Suffolk Tax Map number 300-174-4-7.
Thank you. This was in my area. I had sent prior to this meeting comments for some adjustments to this. I didn't get any confirmation back. Were they made? Can you confirm they were made?
I didn't, this was one that was handled by Farrell Fritz.
Right, I sent it.
I haven't seen anything resent, so if you'd rather not vote on it,
Is that okay? I'd like to just confirm that those were made.
I didn't do the work, so I don't know
Okay.
if it was confirmed. I
Chair,
haven't,
what- I mean,
We
hasn't
have
been,
time to table it
yeah,
for next week?
yeah, we can table it for next week.
Okay, so I don't need a motion to do that, do I? No, okay. Great.
Next, we have Ivan Jacome at 78 Hildreth Place in Springs, Suffolk Tax Map number 300-96-5-1.6.
That was mine. So in the matter of Ivan Jacome, 78 Hildreth Place, Springs, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-96-5-1-6, rather, I'd like to make a motion to approve the determination to allow an existing pool to remain within minimum front and side yard setbacks.
Second.
Concur.
Concur.
Concur. Next, we have Norman Henry Leathers Living Trust at 4 Will Curl Highway in Springs, Suffolk Tax Map number 300-94.6-17.2. I'll make that motion if
When
you
did
want.
it come out? Did you see it? I didn't see that one today.
I didn't see it.
Norman Henry Leathers.
When was that
Yeah.
sent to us?
You have it?
Probably last one.
Is that something we should
Let me just,
table to next week?
Yeah.
So we have a chance to read it?
I don't recall getting it, at least not the last time I looked.
When did that get sent out?
I'll check. It might,
Believe that.
I didn't.
these agendas might
Too.
have gotten confused.
Yeah.
When,
Did we already
You
do
know,
this one?
I at first thought we already did this
Yeah,
one,
me too.
and I didn't see it come in today.
Right,
I didn't either.
yeah.
I sent it last on the 19th.
You sent it what?
I sent it to you on the 19th
Right, but did we,
The 19th
of August.
of August.
right, that was
I
our
don't know
last
if it was-
meeting.
I sent it to you right before the meeting, so it probably wasn't done. And I said it would be on for this agenda. And
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
mm.
I thought we did it.
I thought we did it. But
Yeah.
Yep, here on the 19th.
No,
No?
it was not on the last month's agenda.
in the minutes, you're saying?
Yeah, the minutes. Yeah,
Yeah, the minutes.
yeah,
Okay,
okay.
all right, well,
So then and then you
Well,
can
If we got it,
just table it till next week then.
hold
I
on.
guess did I read it back then? See what happens when we're on break for 2
Yeah, I
weeks?
know.
My brain goes.
have no days off.
Um,
So this was a unanimous approval.
Mhm.
I'll read the description quickly and then I think I can make a motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
If we got it back then, I would have read it.
The purpose of the application was to construct a 317 square foot addition, 225 square foot detached workshop,
mhm.
182 square foot of additional decking, relocate an existing outdoor shower walkways to upgrade the sanitary system, allow an existing AC unit to remain, and to remove an existing shed, walkways, root barrier. Oh, this is the root barrier, that's right.
Right.
Oh,
And the
yeah,
driveway within jurisdiction and setbacks of wetlands. So that, it was a unanimous approval.
Mhm.
Do we have conditions?
So with that, I make Norman Henry Leathers Living Trust, 4-Wheel Curl Highway Springs, Suffolk Tax Map number 300-94-6-17.2 to approve the resolution as written. Got that, John?
I got that. Thank you. Second.
Concur.
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 Okay, next we have John Marino at 63 Benson Drive at Montauk, Suffolk Tax Map number 300-30-1-20.
That one's definitely, I didn't get
That
that
one
one.
we didn't do yet, right?
Okay, that's
So
that one,
table
yeah.
that one?
And Chris Poley,
That
40.
one also had some comments.
That too?
Sorry, you can just go, but
What was that?
I received some comments today. I was in exec session with the town
That we'll
board.
table that as well.
Yeah, just table it.
Okay, yeah, there were some changes.
Joseph McCary and Kim Stoller at 20 Bendigo Road, Amagansett, Suffolk Tax Map number 300-152-1-11.3.
I think I also had sent some comments on this one, really specifically about, I think there were people missing.
Re-veg?
No, it wasn't the re-veg. I just noticed that I think you had an incomplete list of people who were present at the public hearing. I can't remember what else I wrote.
Well,
Did that get changed?
The only person that spoke was Billy Hajek. There was other people sitting here.
I know, but didn't the builder get up and speak? No, or the architect?
No.
No, he
It
didn't?
was just Billy
Okay.
and Morgan.
Right, fine.
The architect, the attorney, the owners, they were sitting in there, but they didn't
I
speak.
seem to remember one of them popping up. Okay, no worries. So I'll make the motion, yeah.
Yep.
Okay, in the matter of Joseph McCary and Kim Stoller, 20 Bendigo Road, Amagansett, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-152-1-11.3. We'll remember that this was a new construction on 11 plus acres of wetlands, containing wetlands and beach vegetation, and this was a unanimous approval, right? Okay, so I'd like to, do I have to say that again? In the matter of Joseph McCary and Kim Stoller, 20 Bendigo, Amagansett, Suffolk County Tax Map 300-152-1-11.3, I make a motion to accept the resolution as written, the determination as written.
Second.
Concur.
Concur. Next, we have Sophia Borditsky at 85 Oyster Shores Road in East Hampton, Suffolk Tax Map number 300-92-2-43. If you remember, this was a relocation reconfiguring of a pool. It was a unanimous approval. So therefore, I make a motion in Sophia Borditsky. That's 85 Oyster Shores Road, East Hampton, Suffolk Tax Map number 300-92-2-43 to approve the determination as written.
Second.
Concur.
Concur.
All right, thank you. And John, being you're in the hot seat, can you make a motion to adjourn?
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the East Hampton Town Zoning Board of Appeals work session, September 9th, 2025 at 8:07 PM.
Second.
Concur.
Concur.